Have you ever wondered how some people always get what they want? How do you think they do it? Like, what's their secret? You see successful people, and no matter what they touch, they just know to turn it into gold. Do you know those people? Yeah. Have you ever wondered, like, what is it that they do? Do they really have this magic wand and they touch something and it just explodes and becomes something beautiful? And maybe even you had sometimes a success in life that you thought, oh my God, it seems like I have a magic wand. I just touch it and it just flows, it goes, and I don't have to put too much effort. It just seems like I have this certain formula for success. And today we are going to talk a lot exactly about that, but then in the context of trading. And we will have a conversation about the secret that the 10% of traders who are becoming successful have. What do they know, or maybe what do they do that the rest don't, so that they actually know how to get into profitable trading and make money consistently? But before we start, just a few words for those of you who are relatively new to our Big Table Conversations. First of all, welcome, and I'm very happy you decided to join us. I'm Agnieszka Wood, and I am trading mindset coach and the founder of Ahead Coach. And I started those events as a platform to help you guys on your trading journey. I have been a trader for a decade now and a life coach pretty much since I can remember. And all I share with you is a result of my knowledge and experience that I have gained throughout my trading journey, but also based on neuro-linguistic programming science, and some of you know it as NLP, that I have been studying and practicing for over 20 years now. It's pretty incredible when I was thinking about it. Just seems so long time ago when I started. And the Big Table Conversations are not just meant to be a common webinar, but an interactive event where you are invited to participate with your input, your reflections, or questions. And I'm here to guide the conversation in such a way that you will get insights that will help you to make a step forward. And the whole goal of all we do is to get you to the point where you make profit consistently with your trading and you feel confident about it. And as I mentioned, this event is being recorded and it will be shared in the Trading Hub community. So up to you how much you participate. And you can also participate via chat if you don't feel comfortable speaking. You can just write in a chat and then I will make it vocal. And if this is, your first time and you think, oh, I just want to look and test the waters, just feel free to listen, and that's fine too. From the experience, I can tell you that the more you bring into the session, the more you will get out. So that's for the introduction. Let's start now with the question. What are the ways people manipulate others to get what they want? Give me some examples. What are the ways that people manipulate other people to get what they want?
They compliment them. They ask a question about their whatabouts.
Mm-hmm. What else? That's very good, Christoph. They compliment them, so they're basically being nice to them, right?
Or make the person think that what you're trying to have manipulatively done is their idea.
Okay. They make them feel that they are the originator of the idea, so they manipulate them to do something for them, right? Anything else? Just think about yourself. I'm sure, we've all done that. We try to, do other people. Like, I don't know if you remember, there was this commercial where they were making fun of women sitting on the couch and trying to get their boyfriend to make them tea or buy cookies, and the guy would just run to the store, buy them cookies, and the girls would be just playing the poor me with their thick socks, You like the stereotype of like, oh, it's cozy, such a nice evening, and then make their guy do everything for them. Manipulative in a very cute way.
Yeah.
So, but what are other ways? People like less nice.
I think they make a story sound so good that it kind of plays with your own mind.
Okay, so they play onto people's feelings,
Yeah.
maybe fears, right?
Desperation, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, advertising is famous from it, right? This is basically what all advertising is based
Exactly.
on. They play on your pain points, trying to get you buy something.
Yeah.
That's manipulation too, right? Some people bribe others.
Yeah.
That's a sort of manipulation too, because you offer them money or some kind of other profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is one way that people manipulate. Is simply lie. People lie to manipulate others, right? And we are really good in finding the ways to manipulate to get what we want. I mean, have you ever done it? Just be honest. I mean, you don't have to admit it here. You know, it's not a confession, but be honest with yourself. Do you ever manipulate other people to get what you want? And if no such thing comes to your mind right now, in other contexts, ask yourself, do I ever manipulate myself? Do I ever lie to myself so that I would make myself do something or make myself not to do something that I should be doing? And I can tell you that we do manipulate ourselves all the time. So, in fact, if your answer was no, then it was probably your ego talking, which was manipulating you for the answer to just grow. In fact, every time you say something or express your thoughts or emotions, and you have influence. You influence. This is basically what we call communication. Every time you express something to someone else, you influence the other. And we don't like using manipulate the other, right? Because it has a very negative connotation. But manipulate is actually influence. It's just another way to say it. So people who have great communication skills have also a lot of power, right? We have seen that. And it's, the most successful people, they know not only how to influence others, how to communicate with others to get them go for their idea, but also to influence themselves. Because most of the time, those people have really good discipline. They know how to communicate with themselves to get themselves what they want. And because we constantly communicating with ourselves, we talk to ourselves all the time, right? It's like if you just listen to your thoughts, you will notice how much you influence or manipulate yourself. How much do you talk yourself into things or you talk yourself out of things? So this constant communication is really crucial to your success because you are basically influencing and manipulating yourself.
This is what happens all the time while trading. It's not possible not to manipulate myself.
Yes.
I can stay in on or go out of a trade, but I have to manipulate myself because I cannot always come up with a rule that I wrote down.
Yes, and that's a very good point, Krzysztof, because that's exactly where that coaching your head starts. Like, how do you actually become your own coach of your own thoughts? How do you make sure that, because it is about you when you're trading, and we'll talk about it a little later, but that's exactly the key. You have to know how to communicate with yourself and how to get yourself to do something you want. How do you manipulate yourself in a positive sense? How do you influence yourself to do things that you want to achieve, that support what do you want to achieve? We will get there. We'll take a detour though. So the next question is, how many of you like confrontations? Anyone? How many of you try to avoid confrontations?
I do at times, yeah. Depending what the topic is, of course.
Okay. But in general, we don't like confrontations, right?
Right.
Why? Why don't we like confrontations? And I know the best about confrontations avoidance because I'm a Libra and my husband is a Libra. And Libras avoid confrontations like fire, right? So it's just, keeping the status quo in communications as long as we know how to live together and everything goes right. It's like, let's do not confront each other. Which is, a point where you have to be very aware of, because if you don't like confrontations but you don't agree with each other, eventually it will explode. So you have to find a way, how do you actually deflate the situation so that you don't have the explosion. But in general, why don't we like confrontations? What would be the reason?
Because we don't know what the outcome will be, or we know too good what the outcome will be, and our mind it won't be a good one.
So we are scared of the outcome. We don't know of the result, right? We might be afraid if it's a confrontation with other people. We might be afraid that they will get angry at us, right? We don't want to fight with other people.
I think
Might
it's
hurt us.
generally related to past experience, isn't it?
Yeah, because whatever the confrontation is will touch something it hurts. Still, you have something in you that the trigger, and you don't want to touch it, right? And that's where the ego comes in and helps you to protect it. So we build the walls, right? So as the thicker wall we have, the better we can protect ourselves, and the more we can avoid confrontations. And even if you have confrontations, you have all those walls, it's very hard to get through, right?
Right.
I think confrontations are uncomfortable. I'm a Libra also, and I avoid them until I can't. And then when I don't, it's not good. So,
So when you don't avoid confrontation.
well, like when you do avoid it for so long, and like you say, things build up, it gets worse if you don't communicate, and then it's good until it's not.
Yeah.
So, but confrontations to me are very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So we basically feel uncomfortable with confrontations. Do you realize, and I probably maybe don't have to tell you that, maybe you know it, but do you realize that the trading job has in the job description a sentence that says plenty of daily confrontations?
That became very real very quickly.
Yeah. So, and I'm not talking about the confrontations with other people, but I'm talking about the most difficult confrontation with yourself.
Yeah.
And when we avoid confronting ourselves with ourselves, it's not very likely we're going to succeed in the market, because we are not going to do the job right.
Right.
So if you don't realize that, you're actually fighting a lost fight and losing a lot of energy, right? So my question now would be, if you think about trading, what truth about yourself were you confronted with so far while trading? Just think about something. If you have been confronted with something that you realize about yourself, that maybe you didn't like that much.
Well, nobody likes to lose, so it's how to avoid losses.
Okay.
Hope that basically trade that you were stop out comes back, but it rather doesn't happen so often, or it creates a viral spiral that takes you down even more, because you allow yourself too much and get used to break the rules.
Okay. So what kind of truth does it tell about yourself? That you don't like to be a loser? Or what is the truth that you found out about yourself by that?
That I have a problem with my moods.
Okay. Did you like to find out about that?
Yeah, I like when I know what it is,
Okay.
because inside it's
Mhm.
it's just a lack of control. So it's always a relief when you know what it is.
Lack of control.
And you can coach yourself basically in real time. Say to yourself with your inner voice, "This is now it. Isn't this? Yes." So
Mhm. Hold that. Control. The lack of control. Very important. Hold that thought. Anyone else? Any other truth that you found out about yourself while trading?
Yeah, I don't like the indecisiveness that I found in myself through this.
Okay. How did it feel when you found out that about yourself?
Almost like I have lost a part of me to make choices and decisions that I feel confident in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know what that truth is, but I
Oh.
don't like it.
So you basically kind of found out, okay, I'm indecisive. And that kind of
Extreme,
maybe, sorry?
extremely. And I've always been a decision maker, like right then, and so
Mm-hmm.
act of the indecisiveness is a bit confusing to me
Mm-hmm.
because that's not who I know. So there's some insecurities coming from, I guess, lack of knowledge or not knowing whether to really pull that trigger. Is that really the right point to do it? Is it too early? Is it too late?
Mm-hmm. You see, that
So,
the interesting part about that is when you find out the truth about yourself this way, when the market confronts you with yourself and then suddenly you learn something new about yourself, we immediately place it in instead of just taking it like, well, that's also me. I'm just doing something completely new I've never done. So I've never met myself this way, right? How many times we meet someone else that we know forever and suddenly we go on a trip with that person and we find out that this person can climb very, but so we are not looking for reasons why this person is climbing, and we are really amazed about it. I've never seen this side of that person. Wow, that's amazing. But when it happens to us, we immediately looking like, what's wrong with us? Oh my God, I have another side of me? That is so weird. It's just like so hard to accept. Because being indecisive, we immediately say, oh, you know what? My picture of me is this decisive person that's always in control. Now I found out there is part of me that's not like that. I don't like that. Why not? It's
right.
still me, you know?
Right. It is hard to face, though,
Yeah, and it
for
is just
sure.
because we build that picture of ourselves that we're trying to protect from, and our ego tries to protect, because generally speaking, the ego will tell you that decisive person is more worth than indecisive person, right? That's just kind of black or white.
Right.
That's it. But indecisive person, like we talked last week about, it can be really good because it means that you take time to make a decision. Maybe you don't have all the information yet to make the decision. And maybe if you don't make the decision, the next day you think, oh, I'm so glad I didn't do it, because look what I would have, where I would be now. So there is always a reason for things, but somehow we like to negate the other sides of ourselves, right?
Mm.
There's one truth that is very hard to accept, but every trader sooner or later will be confronted with it. And that truth is, you and me, as a retail trader, we do not matter. No other player in the stock market knows about us, and neither cares about us. The stock market does not know you exist. So the single truth is that you need to accept is you are insignificant. We are nobody. Now try to repeat to yourself in your head, in the stock market, I'm nobody. I don't matter. Nobody cares about me. try to repeat it a few times in your head. Nobody cares about me. I am nobody in the stock market. Nobody knows I am there. I'm totally insignificant. Oh my God. Nobody needs me. Nobody needs me for their success. What comes up? Just notice what comes up. Do you want to share what thoughts are coming up? Or feelings, maybe? What's the first thought that came into your head when you said that to yourself?
A relief.
Mine was relief. Relief.
That's good.
Mine was relief too. I mean, it's good if nobody's depending on you. Nobody knows about you. Nobody. Yeah, I think I felt relief too.
Because when the stress is high, and usually like the ego needs to protect itself, needs to elevate itself, and we always want to be important, right? That's what ego wants. So when you accept basically that nobody in the market knows about you or needs you, the ego will cease to exist. So you don't need to fight that fight with the ego. And otherwise, the ego will be manipulating you and trying to trick you, that giving you the illusion that you have a control over the market. And if you understand that you have no influence on the market, no matter what you do, because you have no power to move the price, nobody knows about you, and because the volume you're trading, nobody even notices. And we are as worth in the market as, like when we lose, someone takes the money, but they don't know about you as a person. So there is no way to outsmart the system, right? And you might have experienced it in a trading, is that when you are trading, then instead of focusing on what's in front of you, you are trying to see, like forcing a trade to work for you, or maybe staying too long in a losing trade just to prove that you were right about the direction. So like you're trying to prove that the system, how the system works, like, oh yeah, but I was right that this is going to do that, like the natural tendency is to prove a certain rules. So everything has rules, like the ethics, everything goes again according to certain rules, basically. But the market doesn't. And we cannot really find that system in there, even though we're trying. So proving yourself right or proving yourself wrong is totally wasted energy. Now tell me, what is the one lie that you tell yourself while you're trading? What is the lie you're telling yourself? It could be.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
You think you're right?
That you're right? Okay, so now if you look at that lie, think, what confrontation are you trying to avoid by telling yourself that lie? What truth would you have to face if you wouldn't lie to yourself about it?
That you're wrong.
Yeah, but what exactly? Like, so tell me about the situation more. So you lying to yourself that you are right. What are you right about?
Yes, if you just see a trade, you think, well, here's for example, double top or double bottom, you kind of know what those are going to do generally. And as a rule, a double bottom, usually it's going to go back up, double top, it's going down. But I've noticed lately that is not the case at all. It's always been it seems, not always, but quite often it's been the complete opposite.
Okay, so what would be the lie that you would tell yourself in that case?
Believing that it's what you think you know is actually what should happen.
Okay. So what is the truth behind, like, if you wouldn't lie to yourself, what would you have to admit to yourself?
Basically, that the market is completely out of your control and it will do what it wants to do.
Yeah, I almost thought you wanted to say the market is completely out of its mind.
Well, that too.
Yes, it is completely out of our control and you just never know.
Yeah.
And what truth would you have to face about it, like, to yourself? Because that truth is about the market.
Well, the truth to yourself is that it's okay to be wrong.
There you
That
go.
you're not always going to be right.
Okay. That it's not about being right, even.
That's right.
Right? That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Anyone else? What lie do you tell to yourself during trading?
That I don't have to analyze my mistakes and write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Then basically confront myself with the thoughts that I made. So I'm repeating them over and over or too much.
Okay. So if you look at that lie, what would you have to confront yourself with? If you're trying to avoid by telling yourself that lie, if you would be honest with yourself, what would you have to say?
That I wasn't right with being so lazy.
Okay.
And
So is there something that plays about laziness?
not laziness, but being right too. It's at the end.
Okay.
I'm trying to prove something from my past and projecting into my trading.
Okay. So what is the truth you would have to face about yourself?
That the life has to go on, basically.
The life has to go on. You can keep hanging in that with that loss, but then you're missing on all the other opportunities that come along, right?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. Victoria, do you want to say something? And Pravesh and Mary, I invite you also to participate if you like. You want to mute Victoria. Did I say Victoria? You are on mute, Victoria.
Victoria. I think that I don't know. I don't know that I'm far enough in it to actually spot where my lying is, but I think that I deceive myself in thinking that that's not a good choice or that's not a good move. I think I second guess myself on every single thing. I'm way too analytical with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the lie could be you're not trusting. I'm not trusting myself, which we've discussed before.
Yeah.
So I think I just have to learn to trust my gut or my instinct and not be so analytical.
So
And
basically the truth you would have to face about yourself would be
trust myself. Just to trust myself.
That is something you always very hands-on, Victoria. You always you know exactly what you should do. Just tell me about the truth that you would have to face about yourself, because that is, so you're telling yourself a lie, right? Or you deceive yourself. If you
So
would
the
stop
truth would be,
that, the what?
I would think that I would think the truth would be to believe in yourself. Just there's a truth here that You're not stupid. You're not all these things you're telling yourself as to why you can't make a choice, or your indecisiveness or whatever. Or
Mm-hmm.
you're not, there's not a written contract here. And I can't continue to look at it as that. So there's no guarantee, which is not having to do with the lie to myself. I think I just lied to myself in that, okay, that's not a good choice because you don't have concrete evidence that it is a good choice. Does that make sense?
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but what makes sense to me rarely ever makes sense to anybody else. So yeah, it does.
That's okay, because
I mean,
maybe that's the truth. Like, you gotta trust yourself, regardless.
right.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. And it's also, it's also okay not to know. It's okay not to know, because honestly, nobody knows,
Right. Yeah.
whether you just started, or you maybe when you are 20 years in the market, you have seen a little bit more, and you have more associations to the situations before. So yes, you have more experience, but you still don't know. And that's pretty amazing, It's pretty amazing that after so many years, you cannot tell, I got it. I know exactly what the market is going to do.
Yeah.
There's some
That's
rich
good.
people if that was the case.
I know it would be like 100% of traders are successful and all are millionaires.
Right?
Right.
Exactly.
Maybe it's
So,
right from
you don't have to be too harsh on yourself. And sometimes facing the truth is definitely not easy, especially about ourselves. And a lot of times we think, we cannot handle it. So we do hide behind, and we make up an excuse that, maybe I cannot be really honest about things because maybe other people cannot handle it. It's like we will protect ourselves. That's our mechanism to protect ourselves. So if you do that, if you're not ready for the truth, and you notice it, just be honest about that. Just be honest about yourself. I'm not ready yet. It's not the time. Everything has a right time. And you might be just not ready yet to face that. And that's okay. Just being aware of it, sometimes it's just enough to start the process. And people need time to get comfortable with the truth. And people need time to get comfortable with not knowing. And you will, almost, I would want to say, everyone who starts trading, the biggest fear is overwhelmed with information, and there's so much, and I don't know. How do I know? How do I know where to go in? How do I know where to get out? How do I know if it will go up? It's like, that knowing is so embedded in us that we want to know. But living with not knowing is actually kind of character forming as well, because if you can live with not knowing in general in your life, you're a happy man, because you can just enjoy what is, and you don't have to think what will be. You just take things as they come, right?
Hola, hablando, a ver, escucha.
I don't know who just joined, because I only see a number. I would appreciate if you could mute. Welcome, first of all, and I appreciate if you could mute your mic. Actually, I can mute you. I'm sorry. I see some children playing. So, okay. Because in trading, you will be faced, as we said, on a regular basis, and the sooner you will get honest with yourself, stop manipulating yourself, and protect your ego, the sooner you will achieve the results you want. And you joined today to find out about the rule of successful traders, right? So what do you think the rule is? We talked a lot of different things, but what do you think that one rule is? And do you think there is one rule? Just one single rule?
I don't think there is just one rule. There's one certain thing probably that'll click for you to help you to better understand or see a bigger picture, but I don't think there's one certain rule.
Okay. Yeah, because if there would be this one single rule, I'm sure somewhere finally someone would find it and then maybe share it with everyone, right?
Right.
And then the 100% of traders would make a lot of money, and we will all be happy.
Well, I believe that there is a rule, this one rule, but it's not making money. It's control your losses. So
Okay, so you're talking about yes, you're talking about more the risk management, right? The rule,
yeah,
controlling your losses.
giving your another chance to calm down and go on. It's much better when I look at my days when I let me stop out within a range so I can go on and leave the trading day with a positive feeling afterwards.
Very
Because
good.
it's going on and I can start next day with another mood and find another trades that are much better. So it's like continuing. It's
That's very good. Yeah.
for me, this is the one rule that if there is one, for me,
Okay.
it's like it's
So like Chris says, everyone has its own rule to become successful, right? I'll tell you what the rule is that I was thinking about, and that's what I want to share with you. And it is that the stock market is not something we can manipulate as a retail trader. You cannot treat it as a human being. And even though there are people on the other side of the trade, it's not a human being. It's a living beast, but it's not a human being. You can't tame it. And you cannot get something out of it just because you want it. The market is not with you. It's not against you. It's just there. There are no ethics. You cannot go back and say, hey, I lost money. This is not fair. Nobody cares. Your great intentions do not matter. And the rules of the market are very simple. You enter the trade at the right time, you make money. You enter at the wrong place, you lose. It's all about timing, and we know, of course, there is some technicalities and risk management, and yes, but there is one rule that nothing will happen for sure. If you can understand that rule, that nothing is for sure, then you know that you never know. So what you need in order to be successful is to have your own set of rules. And I know that, I like in my program, I hammer on the trading plan and writing your rules, not just to have rules and then put them in a drawer. Those rules is for you to start learning to trust yourself, because you are the only person that you can rely on in the market. It's only you can rely on to get out of the trade. Nobody else will for you. Well, unless you're on margin and the broker will finally close your trade and you lose money. They'll finally give you a margin call, etc. But I would not rely on that. That I can tell you, do not. So you have to be able to trust yourself unconditionally and totally. You cannot lie to yourself, because you will not be able to build a trust relation with yourself and then be confident about yourself. If you cannot trust yourself, how can you have confidence that you will make a right decision when it's needed, right? And the market is a mirror of you. And because it exposes every day the deepest truth about you, and your ego tends to fight with it. So the other 90% of traders that are not successful or giving up at some point, they cannot accept that truth because they are still caught up in the ego fight. They don't see it even that they're fighting their ego. They're trying to outsmart the market. They're trying to find the rules that the market is governed by, or some kind of system or maybe another golden strategy that will make them money. They keep looking all the time outside themselves. And that's because they build the walls and there is no access. They like, this is it, you know, I'm going to look there. It's safer. I don't want to feel uncomfortable, so start digging. That's why the working with the mindset first is not the first thing the trader does, right? That's too close to yourself. So they keep looking outside themselves, and then they're defining. They don't turn inside and focus on their truth, defining the rules and sticking to them. That's too difficult. That being honest with themselves and playing by the rules that they set for themselves. And that's not very easy to do, but you have to be honest with yourself to do it. And accepting the rules that you made, if you break them, accepting this is your own fault, you know, and basically the only way to succeed is to stop lying to yourself. Stop protecting your ego and taking yourself and your money seriously. Because if you keep losing money and you keep lying to yourself that it's okay because this trade is going to come back one day and eventually you might lose your capital, that is not respecting your money. It is not respecting even your own effort. So before you get even into the trouble, if you are honest straight from yourself, like you, Christoph said, like it's better to get stopped out. You lose a little bit, but you have mental capital to continue. And you don't drain yourself. Because the market does not care about you and your money, well, might care a little bit about your money because the other people want your money, then they win, right? But you have to care about you, and you have to build relation about with yourself, and basically based on the trust and the truth. So then you can see much better what happens in front of you for what it is. So when you're looking at the charts, you just see clearly what it is and not what you wish to see. And I will go back to Victoria. You will see who there is and not who you wish to see, who you wish you would be, whether you would be right or not right, you know? And that is what will bring a success in trading. That's the rule I wanted to share with you. And I know I have touched a lot today. So I'm not going to ask if you have any questions because I'm sure there will be a lot of questions. I want you to let it sink first. And if you have any reflections or comments or anything that you would like to share, you can always email me. And I do invite you to connect with me on Facebook if you haven't yet. I'm very easy to find. It's either a head coach or Agnieszka Wood. You will recognize me by the picture. I'm not sure how many Agnieszka Wood is there, but it's always easier to chat, and I'm always reachable to chat. And I'm always happy when you reach out on Facebook, and some people know that I'm reachable pretty much all the time. And I love it. I just love to hear from you guys. Before we finish, I have one announcement. So next week we are, I see Conrad is joining. So next week we are starting the Confident Trader group program, and that gives you a solid ground for consistently profitable trading. And that program takes 8 weeks. So the enrollment for that ends on Wednesday, and then we would have the first welcome session on Sunday and start from Monday for 8 weeks. It includes the training videos, the homework assignments, supporting materials, of course, weekly coaching sessions with a group, and always, my support and dedication, because I'm really dedicated to your success. So, and exclusively for the members of this group. Hang on a second. Okay. And exclusively for the members of this group, I have 20% discount. So also, if you know someone that would like to attend, feel free to invite them to that group, because this is a free, the Trading Hub is a free group. So there is a promo code member20, and that will save you $550 on the whole course. I'm going to post the details in the hub, and also with the promo code, so you don't have to remember that. I hope you enjoyed this. I always enjoy these sessions, and I'm always looking forward to it. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for joining. The recording will be posted in the Trading Hub later today, and I'll see you next Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever is left.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.